Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is how do we let go? That's the million-dollar question, correct? Today I have a beautiful surprise for you. I have Stephanie that has came all the way from Michigan to show up in alignment with some things she needed to do for herself. And she has walked that step of doing some letting go to get here. And so I wanted to share a little bit about her story, some breakthroughs she's had, some things she's had to go through to be able to get to the space of being here to share this message with myself and as you. And so I want to welcome you, Stephanie. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So let's start then first by just talking a little bit about the concept of the letting go first. And then we're going to talk about some ways, and we're going to talk about some things, that Stephanie did to show up here in my life and on her journey and how that's connected and how we've had some major breakthroughs for that. And basically, when it comes to letting go, there's multiple components. We're always living multidimensionally. And at the end of the day, a lot of times in the twin flame journey, everyone's looking at letting go of their twin, right? Like, how do I let go? How do I let go? How do I let go? Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, as we know, a twin points us back to us, and a twin is the reflection of us. And so if we want to let go of our twin, that means we have to learn how to let go of within our personal self. So it's about kind of taking your twin and putting them on the shelf. I say him, whoever they are. It's about putting them on the shelf, and saying, I don't exactly know this outcome. I don't exactly have to know this outcome. I'm willing to say that I'm willing to look in the mirror. I'm willing to look at myself. I'm willing to do what it takes to let go and surrender within myself to become my best version of myself. And then at the end, things with the twin will come back around, making a full circle to revisit everything you templated for yourself within that letting go aspect and creating more self-love for you. And so when this full circle happens, and when you start to look at this and you start to look at within yourself, how can I let go to become the best version of me? That you have to let go of the twin at first to look back to yourself, and that way you can find you, basically is what I'm saying. And until you let go of the twin, you can't even do that to find yourself. So it becomes like this head-heart battle of like so many focusing on outcome, focusing on the details, focusing on how you get from point A to point B. And so in this process, though, it also, as you start to find yourself, that is what will shift you in alignment with your purpose, and is what will help you to learn how to experience the passion that you need in order to support a journey with your beloved on the highest dimensional love layer that you can from your heart. And so, when we go to do this process with ourselves, as far as how do we find ourselves, and this letting go of with ourselves. So I'm going to recap that because it's really big. So you kind of got to surrender to your twin journey and your twin and say, I don't know exactly what the outcome is going to be, but I'm willing to put it on the shelf right now and take a look in the mirror at me. Because that's what your twin's pointing you to. And it's as simple as just doing it in that way and making the shift in consciousness to say yes to your own person, yes to your own journey, yes to your own self, yes to your highest self. So that you can learn how to trust yourself, that you can then begin to trust your guidance, believe in you and these experiences you keep happening with the signs that are showing up. And then that is going to help you find the balance within you so that you can then align with your source. And then in the long run, that helps you believe more in this journey. So today we're going to talk about about 4 or 5 ways here in order to help you learn how to let go. And then, like I said, we're going to bring that full circle with some things that Stephanie has let go of in order to show up here. And she actually helped me template this message because I kind of had another message for this week. And, when she came all the way from Michigan and she showed up here I just have to tell you, I'm going to start with her story as before I move into those 5 things that's coming through. She had said to me she had read my book back in March, and then from there, she didn't exactly even know what she needed. She just knew that she needed to align with me. And here I am in the heart chakra of Missouri. And so she had to let go enough to trust. And we have Champ coming in here today to greet her, give her the staffy smile here. And so she had to let go enough in order to make this alignment to get the breakthroughs that we've created. Because technically, like, I got to tell you, when she came in, the reason this is so important, as she came in, she didn't ask me any questions about anything. I received an email that said, I'm going to be in St. Louis next week, and I'd like to set a session with you in person. And that's as simple as it was. There was no other questions in that. Am I right?
Right.
So, I had to then do some of these things I'm about to share with you because, I don't always typically do like in office sessions anymore. I do go to my chiropractor office 1 day a week for patients that are 20 years of just servicing back. But then I also had a full schedule, and I also did not know how it was going to fit, but I knew and I listened. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about. Step 1 here in this letting go. You listen to your gut is number 1. So, like, she knew she needed to come to St. Louis, and she didn't know why she needed to come. But in that process, I also listened because I knew for whatever reason I could feel that there is something to this that I needed to be there for her and for this to align. Now, when we listen to our gut, it's our higher self waking up to something deep within our higher consciousness, I should say, that is trying to send these signals down and through us and to activate us in a way that gets our attention. And it's that little voice inside that won't go away. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that is our soul contract. That is our soul agreement. That's our soul signature, sending these signals of the direction we're supposed to go in. And it's about us learning to listen to that, follow through with that. And then in addition to that, and this is kind of, I said we were going with you, but it's going back. So we're just going with the flow. We're actually giving a live demonstration here. I'm going with the flow of how this follows through as whatever it needs to as it does. So the bottom line is in that, so you follow your heart. And you follow the heart in an aspect, which is number 2, that then feels those emotions of the gut activating. The gut comes in and it's the voice speaking. Then you start to get the feelings behind it that's attached to your heart. And again, both of these kind of together become your voice of your higher self. But in number 3, we have to surrender to the resistance in order to let go, because the resistance and letting go, and that becomes the head kicks in and all that subconscious programming mixed with your conscious fear that you have templated within yourself, creating this template within you that says that you've done something one way for so long and you've programmed all these old ways and you have trouble letting go of that. And then it attaches you to the fear of the change. And then you sit there battling between your head and your heart, this voice inside of you, these emotions you have that's pulling you left and your head is pulling you right. And you got to surrender. What I'm saying, you have to surrender to that resistance of the pull and to start to follow the heart and follow a space of what feels like you should from the heart. And to, therefore, when you start to make that surrender and you start to show up as Stephanie showed up, is you are taking action, which is number 4. Okay. So when I talk all these times, you've heard these videos of me talking about showing up, Stephanie showed up. Okay. And so we're really, when I could have, and I guess I could have named this, how do you show up? Right. Well, to show up, you have to let go. Right. When you say based on how you got here.
Yeah.
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 But in order to do that action and to show up and then to really kind of number 5 in this, you're facing fears in the process. Okay. And when you're facing fears in the process, that means that action's going emotion. It's not just a energetic thought of action now. You're literally taking action. And as we know, and as I teach people, face fears to find freedom. So the fear is nothing more than hitting a block or a wall that creates resistance within you, everything around you, and all the energy becomes stuck and nothing's moving, and energy is ever changing. It's constantly moving, and we have to learn to let go enough to grow with the flow and go in harmony. And as I think I mentioned last week, you know, my schedule has just, my vibration has been going up with me harmonizing some of the and letting go of some of the stuff I went through over the last few months. I'm shifting me even into a higher layer of my vortex and alignment. I went through some of the deepest layers of like the karmic pit that I went through this whole journey up into this point. And now like there's this huge shift in balance going on between all of this for myself. And so it's about finding the harmonic balance in that. But in that that's why we have to be able and willing to give and take and shift and grow with that as we move and flow through that. And in order to face our fears, a couple of really good examples I wanted to share with you. One is about what other people think, because that's a big one. So many people are so worried and concerned about what other people think on so many levels that blocks them from listening. That's another outside force, okay, to the concept and the idea of this internal struggle. Not only do you have your internal battle, you got the external battle of what's everything outside of me going to look like if I start to make this change. What are people going to think about me coming out of the closet spiritually? What are people going to think about twin flame taboo, right? Everybody's got the twin flame taboo of food, do. First of all, is this even real for myself, right? Or like, what the heck's everybody going to think if I start telling them I'm a twin flame and, you know, this journey? And so many people are having a hard time coming out of the closet with this. And I'm telling you, the universe is saying, we're going to step on you like an elephant till you purge this twin flame concept of it being taboo, because I'm telling you what, it's about to come mainstream, people. How are we going to like move into our twins if we don't, you know, make this mainstream, right? And I'm stepping on a little bit of a toe, or an elephant stepping on you right now, right? She's going to talk in a minute, so we'll see. The thing is, you're safe, okay? You are safe. You're safe in a concept of this journey. You're safe within yourself. You're safe within your guides. Because I'm going to tell you, in this journey, as what I see with people waking up every day, twin flame or not, people are constantly waking up to this journey with the concept and the idea of, what are these number sequences? You know, people are starting to fear it, like, you know, what's happening to me? Like, and even like connecting to the guides and creating downloads and activations and like, what is this? What am I seeing? Like spots, you know, like lights flashing and hearing buzzing, you know, it's like this vibration's going up and your body's templating and you're going up in this vibration that your body is literally going through all those ascension symptoms to support this higher energy and to support that higher vibration of, shifting from that 2-stranded DNA to the 12-stranded DNA so that you can support more light. And as you support more light, you're tapping into the higher consciousness as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. And then you're bringing in and downloading that information that's from the higher self and also your guides. So you start to connect to the guides and you're starting to feel these entities come in that are entities of other energies, and you can be fearful of that, and the fear in itself can make you feel like that technically you are maybe being attacked, because that also is triggering within you the fear within you of something deeper inside that you're karmically releasing, which is helping you to like purge past life things and past life situations. So you're safe in this process. You're safe in the journey. You're safe with your guides. You're safe with yourself to trust. And so with that being said, you know, I guess we want to recap this, and we're going to talk about how Stephanie let go. And so you've got to listen to your gut. You got to follow your heart. You got to surrender to the resistance. You've got to then take some action and show up. And most importantly, in that action, it's got to go from the conscious mind into a 3D happening. That means you're facing those fears. And with that being said, what you will always be rewarded So because Stephanie showed up, she's also being rewarded in a great way. And that's why I want to share with her a little bit about her getting here, how she let go to do that, what kind of some of the breakthroughs we experienced with her that is on, like, because I got to tell you too, it takes this form of surrender to put her on lightning speed, fast track alignment, right? So I'm gonna let you speak, because which in itself is stretching her comfort zone, which is totally fine, right? All right. How did you show up, Stephanie?
I knew I needed to be here. I didn't know why. There were signs. There were so many signs. Answers to prayer. I just really felt drawn to St. Louis for some reason, and then I found your book and read it and knew you were here, and I knew I needed to see you for whatever reason. Now I know why.
Can you share a little bit about what you know and how you know why? Can you share that? Like, now you know why, but you listen. You're being rewarded in so many ways, and I'll recap it for you too. But just share, what did you learn out of that, letting go and showing up? What?
Well, I learned a lot more being here. Just speaking with you about why things happen. Just even little things, like I didn't understand why I was seeing lights or my ears were buzzing. And you helped explain that to me. I didn't understand why I would randomly cry for no reason. And you explained that to me. I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. That's okay. Seriously. So what I went to share with you a couple of things as far as like what she's referring to here. So, and I'm not going to go into too deep because naturally there is, the confidentiality of different things within, Stephanie's own dynamic and all of those different things. But for her personally, one of the things that really started happening in that was an instant, like she walked in to see me at my office as a session, first session I ever had with her. And we scheduled it and planned an in-person session. She showed up. And instantly there was downloads started coming in before we said words, right? We had to stop and let that energy come in. Even my patients were feeling the energy after she left. Like, they're going, what? Like, that was all fast. Like, what was happening is they were in a different dimension of time, and they could feel it. And it was so funny that was happening that way. But we instantly started to realize a few big major pieces that she needed to let go of. That was some past life clearing, connection to guides. She has an entire team that's been sitting outside of her door waiting to speak to her, that started coming in immediately with like messages that actually she was able to link back to, that were connecting dots for her, that she knew the pieces, but she was able to put that together and see, oh wow, like they really are there. It wasn't me just being crazy thinking that they were there. And in addition to that, this takes a lot of surrender and letting go. We were able to together like align her within her purpose and how her own dynamic is like parallels exactly what her purpose is, and that helps her understand her dynamic better in a huge way. And now she has, it's a foundation. But wouldn't you say you feel like you know what your purpose is and now?
Yes.
And you had no clue before, did you?
I knew I had a purpose. I didn't know what it was.
And do you feel confident what we uncovered in that purpose, that you feel like that aligns with everything and makes total sense as to why you're doing your dynamic the way you are?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that's why, can you see how letting go of your dynamic now, of like the resistance of how you understanding your dynamic and how it's set up the way it is, now you can let go of that, right? So you're trusting it more. So that letting go to get here now gives you more letting go, right?
Right. Yeah.
In a big way, because now you have a better understanding consciously as to why you're doing what you're doing. And does that give you a sense of peace?
Yes, and I'm honestly a little scared, but I feel like in time that will go away.
And what are you scared of in that aspect? Because I think I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
What other people will think.
Well, that's true, but
yeah, I'm also scared of. I really feel like I want to do what I have to do, and I'm scared that I might not be able to.
most people feel that way. And part of that is because the mission becomes bigger than you ever could have thought possible, right?
Yes.
And that's why I thought you were going to say you're scared.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, that is a part of it as well.
Because it becomes so much bigger than you could have consciously thought for yourself if you were mapping it out.
Right. Yes. Very much so.
And then it's like, well, how do I do that? And even now, you're still in a space of just waking up to it, to be like, well, how do I actually put it in motion? But actually, we downloaded an entire plan for her of how she's supposed to do that, right?
Yes. Thankfully. I'm glad to have directions.
So we actually gave her in that amount of time. That's why I always tell clients, fasten your seatbelt. And I even, you that show up for this, fasten your seatbelt, because this energy that tends to come through in this space with these messages tend to really put people on a fast track. And like I see this every day, excuse me, with me working with clients and we're doing different things, but I can only help somebody to the level of their willingness of being able to come in and surrender, either a full surrender or a letting go. And that's the free will we have in all of this. And I can only help somebody go to the depths of what they're willing to let go to. And I feel like that because Stephanie came in such a surrender mode, that it set her up for not only aligning with purpose, connecting with guides, learning, letting go of some past life stuff. We also uncovered a couple other big things. We uncovered, and we're going to, let's just do that one now. Like, do you mind to share about, I got to tell you guys, you guys have heard me talking about breaking the karmic contracts. You guys have heard me talking about completing your soul agreement. And you guys have heard me say all this shattering glass and all these things are breaking. And I've had a necklace break, and I've gotten all my clients that are going through clearing these contracts and know that when they're time to break, that these things are happening. That's why make sure you check out, if you haven't done so, the free resource to free your soul and cancel your karmic contracts below, because it's huge, 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 huge. You cannot go forward and you can't fully let go until you let go of your past. And that's on a subconscious programming level that, clearing those karmic contracts are going to be subconscious, most likely. Okay. But it's also about which ones you need to rectify. We're going to talk about in a second. But in that process, Stephanie then had something happen to her after the session that follows everything I said, which, by the way, she's not been a YouTube follower. She's seen nothing I've done up to this point. So she's coming. This is where I tell people, what I was saying is, when you surrender to that level, you get on a fast track and you get like whirled into everything. And it's like I always say, fasten your seatbelt, because that's what's happening. And she can feel this speeding up now. So, okay, tell us about your karmic contract that I told you was breaking, and then what happened that physically happened after you left our session.
I had an amethyst pendant just like this one that I've had for probably almost 20 years, and it broke right after I left her session. This isn't the replacement, symbolizing new beginnings. And and I didn't understand why, but I texted her, and then she explained to me that that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so very cool, because she comes here representing so many of the things that I've talked to you guys about for so long. And she's representing every one of those. That's why I said to her in the session, first of all, in the session, I said, you're doing grid work. Okay. We're going to talk about what that is in a minute, because it's very powerful and it's very important. And that's part of why she came, is her grid work. And she didn't know what that was either.
Right.
She had no clue that she was doing grid work or why or what's happening. But what I very fully understand from that grid work within her is that she, like, where my office, if you guys have read my book or heard me talk, is the heart of the heart of the heart chakra with pyramidal energy. And there's a pyramid outside my office there. And I know that it relates to the Atlantis energy and the Egyptian pyramidal energy, and that I kind of anchor that energy here, and the divine masculine and the feminine, and that I have Swan Lake down the street from here. And I instantly knew from my guidance and listening and following direction, she was to come here, and she was to come here to do grid work. Not only was we doing grid work at my office in the pyramid energy, she was to get balanced and do the feminine side of that and go to Swan Lake, which we're going to go to and have some fun here shortly, as we're trying to let it warm up just a little bit. It's really cool here in Missouri. And for this time of year especially, it's like, when is it ever going to get warm? She's from Michigan, so she said that it's warmer here than it is back in Michigan. So and I've been chilled. So anyway, in this grid work, I immediately knew she was to come to Swan Lake, and that she was to do some activation with her grid work there. So I said to guidance, okay, like, I'll show up, listen to my heart, listen to the guidance, follow my gut, but I don't exactly know when it's going to be, because I knew I was back to back. And I had set, though, today for this video and for you guys in this morning to get this together for you. And so guidance immediately spoke to me when I said, I'm not sure when. They said, oh yeah, she's coming to Swan Lake and she's going to help you do the video. So here she is, right? And now I want to talk about that grid work for just a second and what that means, because most people don't understand it. And basically, from a standpoint of what happened in 2015 that I've talked about, is that through that ascension and the enlightenment process, and we shifted from age Aquarius to the age of Pisces in December 21st of 2015. 2012, through August 8th of 2015, the Earth, Mother Earth, Gaia, had shifted from the 3D energy up to a 5D. And then that time from August 8th of 2015, we have been going up and catching up to the Earth vibration that's helping us ascend really quick on a fast track all the way through the end of 2017. Now what we're doing is we're harmonizing that earth energy, as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. We're harmonizing that, and we're bringing into form all of those things that are to come to pass. So people are doing grid work and they don't even know it. And they're showing up places. So follow your gut. Like, if you feel you're supposed to go somewhere or you've been somewhere. And I've got twins that are following their twins around different places all over the world and multiple locations. And this is happening all the time. And they're doing this because they're anchoring this energy from and rectifying some of their past in these spaces. And also bringing, as it is in heaven, and harmonizing this energy so that they're creating like this balance within themselves that's connecting them to. So I'm going to give you an example of this. So what's happening is you're creating the 0 point field within you, which what I mean by that is you first to get in this space. And that's not to say grid work's not happening without your conscious effort or without you having to be in this space. But at the greatest potential, and as you start waking up, or what is happening that you just don't even know what's happening, and that's why I'm sharing this with you, is that we're going through the duality of like creating like the best of ourselves and the worst of ourselves, and waking both sides up, so that in that space we can find harmonic balance within ourselves to create the neutrality of all that is within ourselves. And then when we do that, we have to harmonize that masculine and feminine within. We have to, as the feminine counterpart, you have to heal your wounded womb area. You have to also then create empowerment within your divine masculine, but let go of being that driver. And then that allows your counterpart to take over that role of being the divine masculine, and also heals their wounded emotional feminine side, which is the harmony between the duality within your dynamic. But when you find the exact perfect harmonization of all it is, from dual being bad to good, and this is on every level. This is on our individual self, our dynamic. This is on our nations, world, and like galactic space. It's all happening. And we're all returning back to oneness, which means we're stabilizing and shifting this masculine and feminine roles and energy to create this neutrality. And the 0 point field is the exact 0 point of the neutrality, of the harmony of that. And when you get in the 0 point field, it will put you in alignment with source energy. So you're in direct alignment and tapping into source. That puts you in perfect alignment with your destiny, which is where you reap your rewards and where everything exists inside of that for you. But one of the things that you have to do in that is let go to get there. You have to show up. You have to, in that, listen to your heart, or follow your heart, listen to your gut, let go of the resistance of your mind. But you do got to take action. And with facing these fears that I've talked about, so when you face those fears and take that action, that's helping you to surrender to the resistance when you take the action, because you're actually showing up in a space that is facing the fear, for instance, worrying about what other people think or different things, but you say yes. So when you hit that space of resistance, you kind of surrender to that and say, I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to face my fear and say yes today. And the instant you make that conscious shift, energy moves and changes, and you get breakthroughs and breakthroughs and breakthroughs and breakthroughs. And in this process of you aligning with yourself, your source, your destiny, and then that's how the collective fits into this, because then we are bringing that energy as it is in heaven through us, anchoring into this grid work as it is on earth, okay? And then it's going out into those ley lines, and then the ley lines are connecting the dots within the ley lines that's creating the universal worldwide web that you get connected into. And that is how we bring things into form. And this is like the work we're needing to do to help us. Then what I was saying is if we've been somewhere in the past and we have subconscious programming and we came here, part of our mission is to rectify that past, we're showing up in those locations to do this harmony and release of the negative sides, to implant the positive sides, to rectify the past and take away the negative experience and flip it into the positive side. And I'm going to tell you mine so it makes sense. So, this is a big one, and you guys have talked to me about being burned. And if you read my book about being burned at the stake, and I got burned at the time I was going through trial with Champ, the trial took me to the past life aspect of releasing that. And I also know from my past life of being burned at the stake, the rectification of that meant freedom and freeing my soul by the reason I won't tell you the story, but the story of how I had to free my soul to do that and to know about that. And then in addition to that, with the trial, it was more about me being on trial and creating justice for having been burned in that life. And I felt every bit of that in a real life mode. And that stuff's happening to us. And in Stephanie and I's conversation today, we realized that some places that I told her she was definitely supposed to go yesterday, and she went, we've uncovered like past life stuff there, which is bringing the full circle for her why she's here to rectify that. So now I want you to share a little bit more just about the experience, what comes up. I want you to kind of face that fear. I want you to kind of just like open up and just share a little bit about your rewards coming out of that and whatnot, and how, like, even how you feel like things might be going forward, because you're here and everything. Yes, it's been intense. And that's another thing. It is intense going through that work. So she's felt very discombobulated.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm going to let you share.
Well, I definitely feel more positive about the future. Now that I know that there's work that I need to do, definitely helping other people. I feel more at peace. Sorry, I'm nervous.
That's okay. That's
I know.
okay. See, she's facing a fear,
I
a live fear in front of you. Okay, she's getting prepared. So and as you know, I know, like even when I started this show, it's like, okay, do I have a hair out of place over here? And today I told her I had to make sure my bangs were straight. We started too. So right, and that's about being open, raw, vulnerable, talking real life from your heart, and not hiding a piece of who you are.
Right.
And to be able to do that without giving a rat's ass what people think. Seriously. And, I was sharing with her when I wrote Twin Flame Codebreaker how that opened me up. I had no idea what was coming out. And nor did I intend to write all of the things I wrote about my real, raw vulnerability of letting go of who I was. And when it came out, I was like, wow, like I opened up as I went through it. But I also knew, here's a big key in that. And we can confirm this because she's said this. We've talked about this. That ultimately, at the end of the day, us coming out of the box is not for the glory of talking about ourselves. We came here to help people. There are other people going through what we're going through that, that don't feel like they have anywhere to go or can't talk about it because it is taboo. And, we need people that can come out of that box in order to be able to share. The goal as a twin is to help others and a way to help them learn from our experiences so they're not alone out there. We're paving the path, right? So, like,
right.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, even just meeting you, having somebody that I can finally actually relate to is, priceless.
Thank you. And as I tell all my clients, but really saying thank you to her so many times for entrusting me to show up, entrusting me to help her with that journey, and Champ's loving her, giving her the stubby looks. And I have a challenge for you guys. So, like, one of the things that is very important is that we make that external reality start to match the internal status of who we are. And so I challenge you to take a conscious effort and face one fear and say consciously, I'm going to face that fear, because as soon as you face that fear, the energy is going to move and change. And you're going to feel motion. And actually, with that being said, you've already felt that release in so many areas with all the different breakthroughs we've created. You can feel that energy that was stuck moving now, right? Another way that you can do in your external surrounding is to move. I got a challenge for you to move 11 things around in your external space to move the energy. So all you got to do is make one breakthrough, and it doesn't have to be big, but you move the energy, and everything will start to shift and around you, and let go and move and go with the flow. So, oh no, you're getting the bath now.
I think you like my lotion.
Okay, so Stephanie, do you have any final words for my audience here as to what you would recommend that they do in order to kind of do what you did, as far as like making such a huge shift of surrender to say, I'm going to show up and I'm going to follow my heart and gut and make a move towards something. Do you have any final words about that, or anything you'd like to share?
To trust your instincts. And if you're unsure, ask for signs. They will always show up, definitely, if it's something that needs to happen. Just always follow your heart.
Okay. Thank you. So, all right. Well, I'm going to give her the group hug here. Thank you. Thank you. So, may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Be sure to like, comment, share the shine. Make sure to check out all the ways below you can glow forward with me. And may you have a beautiful day. We're going to go play in Swan Lake. Namaste.